how it is possible when the teachers of these yanas, they make difference amongst them,
Mhm.
and how is it possible to be take them all together? That is what my
In,
Mhm.
in my tradition, we study all the yanas, and including the yanas that involve para, because these yanas include the image of a woman. And so, in the broad view of all of the yanas, there is a sense that there are that many yanas because there are that many kinds of minds. And so there is not necessarily, just like religion, there's never been one religion in the world. And there will perhaps not be one yana that will dominate the world. But we can improve communication between the yanas, find common ground that empowers us as a community of world Buddhists. This is the issue. So there will be some people who can move through the yanas, and I know that territory. It's not easy. I I'm in Theravada territory. Lama, you have the wrong robes on. Lama, you need to study, go memorize some suttas, and But I see this camaraderie, not a challenge. This is the thing, right? If we're going to Buddhism, the key is shunyata.
yes,
That dissolves the difference immediately. If you're a Buddhist and you believe in shunyata, there is no ground for your differences to hold. It's like a Teflon or some slippery surface; it just won't hold. So these kinds of uh, perspectives and teaching that are necessary in order to give continuity between the yanas. This is a long-term project. What Taijo is saying, and I agree, is that we've got to get the Ambedkarite Buddhism on at the table, because that's the confrontation with the truth. It's different when you go visit the caves versus, I have students who grew up riding their bikes around the caves, right? And they imbibe the cave as a human being. And the world does not have that direct contact. This is the problem. And so the remedy is to create this language and get a better understanding of the yana. Navayana is ultimately where we can be. It has to be a new yana because we risk pulling historic differences into the present without any defense of the conflicts that have arisen over thousands of years. I was just speaking to someone about this issue of the yanas manifested in the first council after Buddha died. It began there between the students who perceive themselves to be close to Buddha and the inside, inner teaching, and the crowd who was following Buddha everywhere that needed rules and regulations to live by so that they would not undermine what he was doing. They had a clash. Who knew Buddha best? That fight started right there. 70 years after he died. It began there, and we are still having it today, and we call it the conflict between the yanas. There's a history of it that is important to know so that you can know where to put shunyata, right? The Navayana is the straining mechanism through which we can come into the future, right? And to either disperse the historic clashes or at least re-articulate them, re-narrate them in a language that can serve us here. When the problem started, as Taijo said, people weren't thinking about dropping atomic bombs on human beings. So we're in a different place. They weren't thinking about shooting ballistic missiles across continents and oceans. So I've been teaching as I travel, listen, peace is coming, one way or the other. The day that they drop that bomb or they started that whole situation, people are going to be sick of it. They're going to want to know the path to peace. or they will not have that kind of confrontation, and they will want to know the path of peace in order to avoid going into that direction. Peace is coming one way or another. My point and my reason for being here is to encourage the Ambedkarite Buddhist community to be present, to be ready when the time for peace talks begin. You know what I'm saying? This is a time and space thing. It's a Vajrayana focus. We don't do Pali Canon, but we are ever focused on the preservation of our traditions, all of them, into the future. The relevant, and relevance is preservation. As long as we are relevant at the table, we will preserve Buddhism. Is there any to do all this? Well, we have the product of reservations in America in the form of corporates and professional engineers and technology people. They are there, but there is no a nexus for them to organize around that is directly related to this bridge between the India. So some of you may be familiar with the organization ANA, small organization, and I'm sure most of you know AIM. Okay, I teach for AIM in their retreats, and I teach for ANA in their retreats as well. And I spoke at Baba Sahib's 125th anniversary at Columbia University. I was there. I was invited to be there. And so I have an understanding of who's out there. I know the families, and when I say I know the families, I mean I've had eaten meals in their living rooms and dining rooms. They're always inviting me. It's a very personal thing. So when I say I know that we have resources there, I mean I have had direct engagement with these resources. But they need an organizing principle. And the organizing principle must be based on what is happening in the villages, in the communities, in the families. There's no need to build this over here in a foreign land if you don't already have some connection, some feeder mechanism in order to make sure that the voice is heard. Because the engineers and those folks, they are from the villages. Some of them are from the slums and from the streets. They know this language, and they are fully capable. There's just one general problem in America, and it is this.
My side. We have one impression that Japan is having 80% of faith in Buddhism. But nowadays, the youngsters are not following it, they are not visiting temples. What is the issue?
Yes. Buddhism has prevailed in Japan, as I said, 80,000 temples. It means Buddhism has become Japanese culture itself, Japanese custom itself. It has become Japanese mainstream itself. So, Buddhism is now custom, like breathing air like everywhere. But at the same time, when it becomes custom, in a way, Buddhism loses the power and motivation to change the society a better place. Because Buddhism is the mainstream. The mainstreamers normally don't like change the society. I like this society because it conveys income to me. I don't want to change it. So that's why, Buddhism slowly losing its the reason for young people to commit. It's like a social custom. Should I do this? some social pressure, or maybe I have to. But like in urban area in Tokyo, those social pressure, peer pressure is much lower than countryside. That's why, oh, I don't have to do such a thing. Kind of atmosphere is rising. And also, one more thing, I said in East Asian country, this factor to Buddhism ground down was big one is Confucianism, to respect one's ancestors through rituals. That's why in Japan, Buddhism is nearly equal to conduct memorial services for your ancestors. For your grandfather's funeral, then the first week memorial service, the second week memorial service, and 7 memorial services until the 49th day. After that, 100 days memorial service. 1 year, 3rd year. So this has become social custom. Yes, feeling compassion from your ancestors could be your energy, could be your vitality. But Buddhism is, everything of Buddhism is not only conducting memorial services, but Buddhist temples take the role to conduct memorial services and only working on that. So now Buddhist temples are facilities only when you need to conduct memorial services.